going on, everyone? Welcome into episode 5 of the Eurostep podcast, brought to you by the Ledge Sports. I'm Zach Hummel, and I'm joined as always by Cole Little. What's going on, Cole?
Nothing much, man. How you doing?
Pretty good. We had the Olympics come to a close on Sunday, and then we had the final for the basketball tournament, which we kind of discussed in the prior podcast, how, the USA was kind of struggling in their pool play, versus Australia and Serbia. But like we kind of mentioned in the last podcast, we both thought they were going to end up winning the gold anyways, and they ended up winning it. What were your thoughts on how Team USA kind of turned it around in the quarterfinals, semifinals, and the gold medal game?
Not real surprising. I mean, they were just kind of coasting at the beginning, trying to find a rhythm. We mentioned on the last podcast that it was kind of a strange group, but they gradually improved. Cousins really stepped up there towards the end. He was doing everything on both sides of the ball. Klay Thompson got into a bit of a rhythm because he was kind of off his game at the beginning. But, the competition, really stood no chance talent-wise. When you really look at it, Argentina. You look at some of the other elite squads: Argentina, Spain, Brazil. A lot of their top players were, really old guys. And you look at this U.S. team; it's one of the youngest that they've had really in recent Olympic memory. And it was an athletic squad, a lot of top scorers, a lot of versatile guys. In the end, the talent won out. We saw that they really dominated. In the final game, of course, the semi was pretty close. They only won by 6, but Klay Thompson, he was great offensively. DeAndre Jordan was great defensively and on the boards. And even though it was close, they got out a pretty good lead there at the beginning and just kind of skated through that one the rest of the way. Never really any threats. Of course, in that France game, I guess that was the last game of group play. That was a pretty big scare. They looked their worst in the game before that against Serbia, but headed into the knockout round, you saw they just destroyed Argentina. It was kind of like those two close calls against Serbia and France were wake up calls, and you had to figure that Coach K would have them ready. And throughout the knockout stage, there were 3 games in the knockout stage. They looked really good on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, I think it was simple. They just picked up their defense and they started moving the ball on offense. There was a couple, great possessions in the Spain game where, guys would pass up okay shots for better ones, and, they trusted their teammate would hit that 3. But like you said, the talent they're going up against is nowhere near, what the U.S. have at their disposal. If we just took every player that played in the Olympic basketball tournament and we just were picking, 5 aside, I think, the top 10 picks would be from the USA team just on talent alone. So the Spain game was a little bit closer than, a lot of people thought it would be, just because, Spain, like you said, they have some players on the way out. Gasol, their point guard, Juan Carlos Navarro's old now, doesn't play. Calderon, and their young generation really isn't ready to step up yet. And I thought Serbia would actually give them a better game than they did in the final, but Team USA was really – I think that was the best game they played. They really shut down the Serbians in their point guard, Teodosic. I saw some stat today that Kyle Lowry was one of the best players in the tournament if you just look at defensive rating and plus-minus. And I loved when Coach K put that lineup out with Lowry, Butler, DeRozan, and Durant, and either Boogie at the 5 or DeAndre Jordan. That was their best defensive lineup. In international basketball, these are all great NBA players, all-stars. They'll be able to score on the offensive end because these teams played terrible defense. But I thought, on the defensive end, that team really dug in and got in the passing lanes and got some steals and got the other team in foul trouble. So I think defense was important in that lineup more than the Klay Thompson, Kyrie Irving lineup, which was more about just pure scoring. you want a team that can stop people. And I thought that lineup did a great job playing some defense in this tournament.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's kind of strange because you look at the Redeem team in '08 and then the 2012 team that was a lot of the same guys. Those were just a lot of hot shot players. They put up points, a ridiculous amount of points in pretty much every game. And yeah, like you said, this team was a little bit different. Had a lot of defensively oriented guys. DeAndre Jordan, Kyle Lowry was never spectacular offensively, but defensively, especially in the knockout stage, he was great. Draymond Green, Cousins fared pretty well defensively down the stretch. And yeah, like you said, it's fitting that they played Serbia in the championship game because that was kind of like their redemption because they were terrible defensively against Serbia in group play. But in the championship game, it was like a complete 180-degree switch. They were awesome. That was probably their best. It was definitely their best defensive performance when you consider, the fact that it was the gold medal game. And they shut down their point guard Jokic, which was they definitely couldn't do in the group play game. But yeah, they just gradually improved. I mean, that's something you had to kind of expect with that weird mismatch, that weird potpourri of players, that unique roster they put together. You had to kind of figure they would get off to a bit of a slow start. I think a lot of people were shocked because they didn't really get off to a slow start. It was after the first couple games that it started to look like maybe they weren't fully in sync. But once the knockout stage rolled around and they realized there were no more chances to play around, Coach K clearly brought the group together and they destroyed Argentina. And what a lot of Team USA's critics thought that maybe that could be a potential upset, but they dominated Argentina. Never let the Spain game get too scary, and then just destroyed Serbia. So all around a great Olympic tournament. I mean, of course, that roster didn't exactly have the elite veteran star power that the Team USA rosters have from the past two Olympics, but still a great team. A lot of those same guys will probably be on the team in Tokyo in 2020. They'll have a new coach, Greg Popovich, but you can definitely still expect to see that same style play. And I'm sure they'll dominate in those Olympics too. But this was an important Olympics because Kobe, of course, he retired. LeBron, you got to figure he's done playing in the Olympics. No Chris Paul, some other veteran guys. So a lot of the young guys, this was their first Olympic experience, and overall they fared really well. Of course, in 2020, you got to expect that, assuming he's healthy at the time, Steph Curry will be playing, Anthony Davis as well. So that roster will probably be even better, and a lot of these guys will have some more experience under their belt. And, that roster could potentially be the best that Team USA has ever sported. No disrespect to the Dream Team in '92, but this was, a great way for Coach K to go out on top. Had a couple scares there in group play, but when it mattered most, they stepped up and they definitely proved that they were the best team in the world.
Yeah, for sure. That roster in 2020 should be stacked. I'm interested to see what international teams will sort of step up and maybe be able to challenge the U.S., not talent-wise, but maybe, as they play as a team. I look for France. They have a couple good young players coming up in the NBA. Fournier missed this tournament. He didn't get picked for the team. I know they have Tony Parker on the way out, but their point guard, his name escapes me at this moment, but he was shredding the U.S. defense in that preliminary game. Spain kind of on the way out with a lot of old players. Their young guys, Rubio, couple other guys, Sergio Llull, Hernan Gomez. Those guys aren't superstars, so that team will probably still be there, but not as good. Australia could be a team to look out for. They have some old guys on the way out, like Engels. Patty Mills is getting up there in age, Bogut, but they have Exum, and if Simmons ever figures it out, the Australian national team, that could be a good 1-2 combo for them going down the stretch with Exum and Simmons, who's touted to be one of the next superstars in the NBA. And then I look for Croatia, another team. They have Sarge coming over this year to the NBA. He looked good in the Olympic tournament. They have Hazonia, who's on the Magic. They have a couple other young prospects that'll probably be drafted in the coming years. So that's a good young team. A small nation at the same time, but like you said, the U.S. shouldn't lose, especially in 2020. Tokyo will be a great opportunity for a lot of these NBA guys to not only play in the Olympics on the superstar team, but Asia is a huge market for basketball, and that'll be a great chance to market themselves to that audience. A lot of China's right over there, Japan. Those people will spend money on all the basketball shoes. We see LeBron go over there all the time. Kobe went over there. So that'll be a great opportunity. I really think all the great players will show up for that one. And I wouldn't count LeBron out. I know he made some comments after, Carmelo had his little somber speech saying he's done with international, that LeBron said he missed it and he might come back. So, if he's healthy and, things are going well with the Cavs, if he's still with them by 2020, I think he might actually come back, especially with, Popovich being the coach and depending on who he puts on his staff. I would look for LeBron to come back. But speaking of Coach Krzyzewski, like you said, his reign's coming to an end with this Olympics. He's won 3 straight golds, which after the fiasco that we had in, I think it was 2004, where we didn't win the gold. He came in and really, him and Colangelo really helped USA basketball get back on top. They made this program. They had a pool of players. It was really organized. And, 3 golds and 3 Olympics, we should expect that from Team USA. And, it's easier said than done. And Krzyzewski definitely backed it up with the way he ran the program for Team USA.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I remember the 04 Olympics. I was only like 8 years old, but I still remember the embarrassment, because it is an embarrassment. USA has no excuse not to win gold every single Olympics in both men's basketball and women's basketball when you look at the talent. And that team was stacked with talent. Had a lot of veteran guys. I think Tim Duncan was like the captain of that team, and they still faltered. And it was, it was just strange. It had a weird feel to it. And that's why that 08 team that was just absolutely stacked with talent, it was called the Redeem Team, because it really was about redemption. And having Coach K to lead the way, it was fitting, because, love him or hate him, Coach K is a great basketball coach. He's well respected by guys in the NBA. Kobe, honestly, has probably said more nice things publicly about Coach K than he has Phil Jackson. So, he quickly earned the respect of those NBA guys. It's also fitting because he's an Army guy. He went to West Point. So obviously he has a lot of patriotism, and, that's important for a guy leading, what's really the face of the U.S. Olympic team, if you get down to it, the basketball team. There's a reason that the final event on the final day of the Olympics is the men's basketball gold medal game, because, it's basketball. It's, other than soccer, I guess it's the most popular sport in the world, and it clearly has the most star power in the Olympics, because a lot of the star soccer players don't play in the Olympics. But, it was fitting to have Coach K appointed as head coach. It made perfect sense. It's great that Popovich is going to take over. He's an Air Force guy, so now we have another military mind coming in. Clearly going to have that patriotic feel to it. But yeah, Coach K, it was cool to have a college coach too, because obviously college coaches a little more serious, a little more hard pressed. And in 04, I guess a lot of those guys on the U.S. team didn't take the Olympics seriously enough, and it showed. And it was an embarrassment. They barely squeaked out bronze, if I remember correctly, despite having by far the most talented roster in the Olympic field. But yeah, it's been a great run. I think Coach K only lost 1 game the entire time he was there, undefeated, in these Olympics. Pretty much crushed in all 3 Olympics he coached in. And it was an awesome run. He'll forever be remembered for being the guy that not only was obviously an outstanding coach at Duke, but for being the guy that got U.S. basketball back on track. He made it more appealing. He got a lot of the veteran guys, such as Kobe, to really get back into it and want to play in the Olympics. Jason Kidd. A lot of these older guys really got back into it once Coach K was appointed as head coach and kind of helped lead the charge and usher in this new era of U.S. men's basketball. So awesome for Coach K. Of course, it's all about the team as a whole. It's all about Team USA. But yeah, got to give extra credit to Coach K for what he did during his tenure, because it was definitely very important. And yeah, it really helped get Team USA back on track in men's basketball.
Yeah, now that they have a program in place and they have a structure, I think Popovich will come in, and I think they might be even better under Popovich. I just think the way he won't, Krzyzewski, he gives them plays and whatnot, but he kind of lets them do whatever they want and lets their talent kind of take over. Popovich, I feel like, is such, he wants to win every inch of the game. He will not let anyone take a play off, and he will. I can see him just like if they get down 10-0 to Serbia, he'll call a timeout early in the game and just rip them to shreds. Because on the bench with Krzyzewski, he's sort of calm. Tom Thibodeau was fuming a couple times over this tournament with the defense USA was playing, and you could see him on the bench because he's supposed to be the defensive guy, and when they're not playing, they're not even trying on defense. He just gets so pissed. Krzyzewski's his coaching staff was interesting. He had Tibbs, an NBA guy. He had Boeheim, who had the Carmelo connection, is a college coach who plays a 2-3 zone. Maybe he wanted to bring that element in. And then he had Monty Williams, who's a veteran NBA coach. It'll be interesting to see who Pop brings on his staff. I think the Celtics coach Brad Stevens, I'm not sure if he even knows Brad Stevens. Obviously, they're both NBA coaches, but I think Stevens could bring a lot to team, just his offense. I think what he runs with the Celtics, I get to watch it, every game. It's great. He will really change the Team USA offense, and it'll be even better to watch than what it already is. And Pop will bring that NBA, the rings, as Pat Riley would say. So they'll have to respect that when they come in. But yeah, Team USA should be a force to be reckoned with in the near future. There's great young players coming up in the league, so that should be, a great element going forward for Team USA. I know we want to touch on Carmelo too. After the USA won the gold medal, he had a little 2 or 3 minute speech with one of the reporters about how he's loved playing in the Olympics. These guys are family to him. He seems to be the player in U.S. history who's taken this the most seriously, the Olympics. And to be honest, I watch him a lot because I get the Knicks channel. The games are on where I live in Connecticut, so I'll tune into Knicks games when the Celtics are on. He's such a ball stopper on the Knicks. It's all ISO ball. When he gets to Team USA, he spreads the floor, he moves the ball, he rebounds, he blocks shots, he plays defense. He does it all, and I really think it brings the best out of Carmelo. So I think even though he cried, I thought it was a little over the top. I think he realizes that Olympic basketball is really the best for him, and it's a style that he should be playing. But when he gets back to the NBA, it seems like he goes back to his ball-stopping Carmelo days, which is interesting, I think.
Yeah, the whole Carmelo situation, with how it panned out, it's really hard for me to really understand. I mean, it's strange that a guy with that much talent, that much star power, could be that much better all around, like you said. Playing an international ball, I mean, it completely defies logic because most star players look worse when they're playing with, a bunch of guys they're not used to playing with. But Carmelo looks better. It makes no sense. And it's weird to think that, his legacy, I mean, we're talking about a guy, whether you like him or not, I'm sure he'll end up in the Hall of Fame. And we're talking about a guy whose legacy might be, not as an elite, all-time great NBA player, but is the greatest, U.S. basketball player ever. I mean, he's the all-time leading scorer in the Olympics for Team USA. He's the only player for the men's basketball team, U.S. men's basketball team, to win 3 golds. I mean, and he's been a star player in all 3 these three past Olympics. I think he also played in the '04 team that got bronze. But
Yeah, he did.
yeah, but he's been, he's clearly committed to Team USA. Clearly took it very seriously. A lot of guys in 2000, 2004 were accused of not taking it very seriously. He clearly did. He helped, I guess, Coach K usher in that new era, bring back the flair and the seriousness to what it means to represent Team USA basketball at the Olympics. The whole thing, it makes no sense to me, though. I mean, I want to congratulate him on being such a, great Olympic leader, but it's just weird, like you said, when you watch him play in the NBA and then you watch him play in the Olympics. I mean, he honestly has to be the only player in the history of basketball who's better on an international level than he is on an NBA level. He plays game in and game out. He's better playing with a group of other star players who he's not used to playing with. I mean, it's strange. I don't really know what to think about. I mean, I'm happy he's experienced this success. I know he got emotional and said, he also said during the course of the Olympics that he would be completely satisfied with having 3 Olympic gold medals and no NBA titles. And I'm sure he's the only player to ever say something like that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, good for him for taking international basketball so seriously, but yet, you got to kind of wonder where that Carmelo is, during the actual NBA season.
Yeah, I think he likes playing second fiddle. It almost seems like in the Olympics, people aren't putting a spotlight on him on the court. With the Knicks, everything's on him. He has to shoot, score. And the Olympic team, he can fill in and do the little things that need to be done. And he's just another player. He's just another superstar. But what struck me is like this campaign that Carmelo, he almost he's a U.S. hero because he represented his country at the age of 31, and they're saying LeBron didn't and a lot of other guys didn't. It's like, all right, if Carmelo didn't come to this Team USA team, they would still be taking home the gold, and we would have forgot about it. I just hate that they try to build this storyline around it that Carmelo did all this for his country. Yeah, he did it, but like you said, he plays better in the Olympics. That's why he plays in so many, because he realizes that this brings the best out in him. Help his Hall of Fame balloting by the way he plays for Team USA, because like you said, he hasn't done a lot in the NBA, and him saying that he would rather have 3 Olympic gold medals than an NBA championship is just crazy town. I just think that's so stupid. But like you said, he showed up, he played well. So he's definitely one of the best Team USA players ever, which is a crazy thing to say. He's up there with Jordan and LeBron in points. So we'll see about coming back in the Tokyo games if they'll have him. So I can't believe he announced his retirement. So we'll see what goes on with Carmelo. But unless you got anything else on the Olympics, there's not too much going on in basketball right now. It was a good Olympic tournament, though. USA struggling actually made it a little better, just because it got people to watch the games. Like, oh, Team USA only won by 3 points, so it kind of kept everyone's interest through the whole tournament, which is a great thing. Because if they're blowing teams out by 50, it's like, why do I even tune in? The game's over during the second quarter.
Yeah, right. It did make it a little more interesting because, I mean, there weren't, you look at the '08 team and the 2012 team, and, I mean, I think pretty much everyone expected them to just destroy because, I mean, they had all that star power. This team, a little, several question marks. So it did make it more interesting that they struggled a bit at the end of group play. But, like you said, they came together at the right time. And, yeah, about Carmelo, it is weird how this Olympics kind of became, the Carmelo storyline was one of the, primary storylines. I mean, on top of the Ryan Lochte garbage and the Hope Solo garbage, we had this weird Carmelo storyline. And, yeah, well, I do realize, like you said, there may be some ulterior motives there for helping his Hall of Fame credentials. Because if you look at the relative lack of success that teams he's played on have had, that's definitely going to hurt him when it comes time to his Hall of Fame balloting. Because he's really only played on 2 or 3 solid teams throughout his career. Yeah, I mean, it was just strange. He announced his retirement from international basketball, and it got all this publicity and it was all emotional and stuff. So I don't know. I guess these were Carmelo's Olympics. I mean, maybe who knows? Maybe if the Knicks keep playing like garbage, he'll come back in 2020 to try and make himself look better. But still good for him and good for Team USA. But yeah, like you said, it was a pretty good tournament, but the best team definitely won in the end.
Yeah, like the Jordan brand, they're trying to make us feel bad for Carmelo. They're like, he had ailing knees and all this stuff, and he coming off injury, and he still went for Team
Yeah,
USA. This guy's making $20 million a year. I don't feel bad for Carmelo. I don't need all this thing. Thank you for representing the country, but to be honest, if we just brought Damian Lillard or someone else, Gordon Hayward, we would have been just fine without you, Carmelo. But he was part of the Krzyzewski era. Boeheim helped. That he's his old college coach, so that helped. Bring him along to Team
hmm
USA. So, yeah, so we're going to be without basketball for a little bit. The NBA season kicks off late October. I think it's the 25th is the first night of games. So we'll definitely have an NBA preview,
right.
hopefully a week before, a couple weeks before,
Yeah,
doing our predictions and, doing the awards, who we think's going to win MVP, who we think's going to win the championship, and all that good stuff. So, be looking out for that in a couple months. But other than that, you got anything else, Cole, in the Olympics or the NBA
I
in
don't
general
think
going on right
so.
now?
I look forward to the regular season. This is going to be a good one.
Yeah, this should be a great. We soon forget all the people that change places in free agency. So the Western Conference this year, especially, should be crazy. So we'll definitely deep dive into that situation on the next Euro step. All right, take it easy, Cole.
Thanks, man.